afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamaica C. Nawami, together with me, Renalyn Bongcal, Renalyn Cartalaba, Jonathan Bello, Ansar Andung, Eda Sagaray, and Miss Elsie Magallano. So today, our research title is all about the effectiveness of science, technology, society, the STS, instruction on student understanding of the nature of science and attitudes towards science. Also, why we choose this title? So it is because many students struggle to see the relevance of science in everyday life. So STS instruction connects scientific knowledge to social and technological context, making learning more meaningful and applicable. Also, this research talks about how important it is for students to become scientifically literate. So, meaning they should not just learn science facts, no, but also understand how science works, how it's connected to technology and society, and also how to use that knowledge in everyday life. So it is also to help students to do this. Teachers are encouraged to use something called science, technology, society. So instruction, this teaching approach connects science lessons to real-world problems and encourages students to think critically, work together, or the collaboration, and solve problems skills. They can use skills outside the classroom. So a key part of STS teaching students about the nature of science, or the NOS, this means helping them understand how scientific knowledge is created, what values and assumptions scientists bring to their work, and how science is constantly evolving. So this article also says that teachers need proper training so they can teach science this way. So no, so helping students learn not just content but how to think and act like scientists in society. So that's all, everyone. Thank you.
Good day everyone. Good day Ma'am Pinky. So our research titled The Effectiveness of Science, Technology, Society. Instruction and students' understanding of the nature of science and attitudes towards science, published in 2015 in the International Journal of Education in Mathematics, Science, and Technology. So explore how integrating real-life social and technological contexts into science educations can improve student learning outcomes. So conducted by Behye Akay and Hakan Akay, the study specially focuses on how STS instruction influences middle school students' understanding of the nature of science, or NOS, and their attitudes towards science as a subject. In recent years, so educators and researchers have emphasized the importance of developing scientifically literate individuals. So scientific literacy not only involves understanding scientific facts and theories, but also it requires the ability to apply this knowledge in real life situations. So understand the role of science in society, and I think critically about scientific issues. The SCS approach to teaching aims to achieve this by connecting scientific concepts to real-world social and technological problems. So this method helps students see the relevance of science in everyday life and encourage active learning, critical thinking, and collaboration.
The research all about title Effectiveness of Science, Technology, Society, or STS, instruction on student understanding of nature of science and attitude towards science. That students who were taught using the STS approach were composed this who received additional textbook-based instructions. Both groups were taught by the same teacher to ensure consistency. The findings of research revealed that the students in STS classroom demonstrate significantly better understanding of nature of science. These students also develop more positive attitude towards science compared to those traditional classroom. The results show that STS instruction helps students better grasp scientific concepts and the process of scientific thinking by making learning meaningful and relevant. Furthermore, the research emphasized the importance of teacher professional development. It suggests the STS instruction to be effective. Teachers need adequate training in both context and pedagogy of the approach. Teachers must understand the nature of science themselves and be able to create classroom environments that promote discussion, problem solving, and connection between science and society. This study highlights the positive impact of the STS teaching approach on students' scientific understanding and attitude. It suggests that science education should go beyond textbooks and incorporate real-world issues to help students become engaged and thoughtful and significantly literate individual. The findings support the idea that when students see the relevance of science in their daily life, they are more likely to understand it deeply and develop lasting interest in the subject.
So this study on science technology society or the STS instruction has significant implications for social change, particularly in the realm of education and public engagement with science. So now we will expand the discussion on its impact. So first is the advancing scientific literacy and critical thinking. So here, the STS or the Science Technology Society moves beyond traditional textbook-based teaching by situating scientific concepts within societal context. So this approach fosters a scientific literacy, ensuring that the students understand not only scientific theories but also their relevance to real-world problems. So a scientifically literate society is better equipped to make informed decisions about the issues such as public health, environmental sustainability, and technological advancements. So additionally, this approach strengthens the critical thinking, which is the students learn how to analyze how the science interacts with society rather than memorizing isolated facts. So these skills enables the future generations to question, evaluate, and contribute to discussions on scientific matters that impact policy and daily life. So let's go on to the second one, which is the encouraging positive attitudes towards science. So here, this study finds the STS instruction significantly improves the students' attitudes toward the science, which is a very crucial factor in shaping the future of STEM engagement. So, by connecting the scientific knowledge to the real-world applications, the students perceive science as relevant and meaningful, increasing their enthusiasm for learning and boosting potential interest in scientific careers. So, a society with positive attitude towards science is more likely to embrace innovations, support scientific research, and engage in evidence-based decision making. So these shifts influence the public discussions on issues such as climate change, medical advancements, and emerging technologies. So we have the last one, which is the empowering citizens for social change. So the STS instruction instills a sense of responsibility and active citizenship by highlighting the ethical and societal implications of scientific discoveries. So the students who engage with STS concepts, they develop a deeper appreciation for how the science affects the policies, the communities, and the daily life. So, in this understanding, it empowers them to advocate for sustainable and ethical scientific practices in their local and global communities. So, for an instant or for an example, so students who grasp the principles behind environmental science may actively support policies that promote sustainability. So it is similarly an improved understanding of public health sciences encourages individuals to make informed healthcare decisions and participate in conversations about medical accessibility and innovations.
So, number four, transforming education systems. So, the findings suggest the necessity of reforming traditional science education models to incorporate STS instruction. So, this shift calls for enhancing teacher professional development programs, ensuring educators are equipped with methods that encourage inquiry based learning and real world problem solving. So, when implemented broadly, this educational reform can lead to a more engaged and informed student population, ready to tackle complex societal challenges, a shift in curriculum design, integrating societal issues, ethics, and the role of science in shaping the future. And last, the stronger connection between science education and community needs, making scientific knowledge accessible and applicable. Number five, driving innovation and ethical decision making. So, the key impact of STS instruction is its ability to bridge science, technology, and society in a ways that encourage ethical innovation. So, students learn to question and analyze the consequences of new scientific and technological advancements, ensuring responsible development of technologies. So, for instance, discussions on biotechnology or artificial intelligence and environmental sustainability within STS classrooms can shape the perspectives of future scientists, engineers, and policymakers, fostering ethical decision making and scientific advancement. So, next, the conclusion of this study shaping the future through science education. So, this study demonstrates how STS instruction goes beyond academic improvement. It drives meaningful social change by cultivating critical thinkers, informed citizens, and ethical innovators. So, as education evolves to emphasize the real world applications, societies can expect a generation that is scientifically literate, socially engaged, and empowered to contribute to positive global change.
Today, science plays a big role in our daily lives, from health and technology to climate and energy. We face many challenges that require scientific knowledge. Because of this, how we teach science in schools is very important. One useful way is called the Science Technology Society or the STS approach. These methods connect science lessons with real-life problems and help students understand how science affects the world around them. This research shows that STS teachings help students in two big ways. The first way is it improves students in their understanding of how science works. Many students think science is just about facts and formulas, but STS teaching shows that science is a process. It is always changing, based on evidence and connected to human values, culture, and society. Students learn that scientists ask questions, test ideas, and sometimes even disagree. This helps students see science as something that grows and changes with new discoveries. Second way is STS teaching helps students feel more positive about science. When students see how science relates to their lives, like with health issues, climate change, or new technology, they become more interested and motivated to learn. They begin to see science not just as a school subject, but as something useful and meaningful. But this research have benefits. So the benefits of this go beyond the classroom. It also helps create positive and social change. When students learn to think carefully, ask questions, and understand problems from different points of view, they become better citizens. They can make smart choices, share ideas, and help their communities. For example, they might speak up about pollution, support clean energy, or help others understand health information. This research also teaches students to think about what is right and fair. They learn that science and technology can raise important questions about what is good for people and the planet. This helps students care more about social and environmental issues. They become more responsible and willing to take action for the good of others. Another great thing about STS is that it includes different cultures and voices. It helps all students feel like science is for them, not just for certain people. This makes science education more equal and fair, and it encourages more students to get involved. So to make it short about this research, teaching science through the STS method helps students understand science better and enjoy learning it. More than that, it helps them become thoughtful, caring, and active members of society. By connecting science to real life, STS helps young people make a difference in their communities and in the world.
Effective Science Technology in Society or STS, instruction and student understand of the nature of a science and attitudes towards science. Center of the evaluating how a particular teaching strategy known as the STS instruction. This is the impact student learning and perception of the science. To understand this title fully, it's important to break down its component and consider their educational significance. The words effectiveness implies a focus on measurable result, suggesting that the researchers are analyzing whether STS instruction produce better outcomes than traditional science teaching. This leads us to the core of the study, the STS approach. S stand for Science, Technology, and Society, an instructional strategy that integrates science content with a real-world technological and societal context. Rather than presenting science as the isolated fact on an abstract theories, STS instruction shows students how scientific knowledge is applied in everyday life and how it's intersect with an ethical and environmental, economic, and political issues. For instance, lesson might connect the biology of the viruses with discussions about public health policy or link environmental science to climate change and renewable energy debates. By doing so, STS aims to make science more meaningful, engaging, and accessible. And then the next part of the title refers to the studied student understanding of the nature of science. This phrase focuses on how well student grasps what science truly is. It is the processes, the values, and the limitation. The nature of science, often abbreviated as NOS, include understanding that science is a method of inquiry driven by evidence and experimentation, that scientific knowledge is tentative and subject to revision, and that it is the influence by human creativity, societal norms, and the cultural value. Many students hold misconceptions about science, thinking it's provide absolute answer or that is separated from the human's influence. STS instructions by linking science to real societal problems and decision making. It can help students to develop a more accurate and complex view of how science works in the real world. This deeper understanding of science as a human endeavor is considered as a critical component of the scientific literacy, which is the increasingly important in today's society, where citizens are fluently asked to make informed decisions about scientific and technological issues. The final part of the title, the attitudes toward science, this is shift that the focus from knowledge to the emotional and motivation.
This involves exploring how students feel about science, whether they find it interesting or boring or relevant or irrelevant. Empowering or intimidating student attitudes towards science can significantly influence their willingness to engage with scientific topics, pursue science-related careers, or even trusted scientific information in a daily life. A positive attitude can enhance learning, while a negative one can hinder it. The study is likely examining whether using STS instruction helps students develop more favorable views of the science by showing them its practical values and connection to the real world. When students see that the science affects their communities, health, environment, and future, they are more likely to appreciate its importance and become motivated to learn more. Together, the full title suggests a research study that explores about cognitive and affective outcomes of a modern interdisciplinary teaching method. It seeks to determine whether STS instructions improve student conceptual understanding of what science and how it works, as well as whether it possibly influences their feelings toward learning science. The study likely involves comparing student outcomes before and after STS instructions, or between student taught using STS and those taught using traditionally methods. The goal is to provide evidence about the value of integrating social and technological themes into science educations. If effective, this method could be used to better prepare students for participation in a world that increasingly depends on scientific knowledge and technological innovation. These kinds of research is particularly relevant in the context of educational reform, where there is growing recognitions that traditional textbook-driven instruction often fails to capture the complexity, relevance, and dynamic nature of science. By the contrast, STS instructions is more aligned with how science operates in the real world, constantly interacting with social, ethical, and economical and political dimensions. The title of the article reflects a desire to test whether aligning science teaching more closely with this real-world concern can lead to the deeper understanding and strongly engagement. In doing so, the study contributes a broader goal in science education, developing scientifically literate citizens who not only understand scientific concept but also appreciate the role of the science in shaping society and the decisions that affect their lives. This is Jonathan Bello, BSed Mathematics 2.